Hello, my name is Telman Knutson, certified hypnotherapist and co-founder of the New Hypnotists, and we're here today to start teaching you about how self-hypnosis works and how you can use self-hypnosis to transform your life for the better. This is the first video in our 7-video e-course about exactly how self-hypnosis works, and today we're going to be covering the basic introduction, kind of laying the foundation for exactly what you're going to be learning over the next several sessions as we go through this together over the next few days. I became a certified hypnotherapist in 2000, actually December 31st of the year 2000. You can see my National Guild of Hypnotists certification up there, and I worked for 7 years with clients one-on-one, and I saw thousands of people in a private office setting. I helped thousands of people with weight loss, with smoking, overcoming stress and anxiety issues, various types of eating disorders, various types of neuroses and phobias, everything from nail biting to fear of heights, help people get so they could drive on on-ramps, improve their self-worth, their self-confidence, improve their relationships, their ability to sell if they were salespeople. Hypnosis can really be applied literally to almost any area of your life, which makes it sound a little bit good to be true. But basically what a hypnotist does is a hypnotist sells habits. And they sell good habits and they help you erase bad ones. That's the basic idea. And the way that you can use self-hypnosis in your life is only limited by your imagination. But most people start using hypnosis to overcome a problem that they're facing in their life. And the top uses of hypnosis in the world, the number one use for decades has been weight loss, followed closely behind by quitting smoking, and the third has been stress and anxiety. Of course, insomnia has become a real big problem these days, especially with all the caffeinated energy drinks and everything else that's just throwing everybody for a loop. And with the amount of information that's getting barraged at us all the time, what you find is that that tends to increase a lot of folks' stress levels. So stress and anxiety is big. Insomnia is a big use of self-hypnosis. But the good news is that there are limitless positive applications to hypnosis and self-hypnosis as well. As a matter of fact, golfers use hypnosis like crazy to improve their subtle golf game and really get things supercharged. It's such an inner mental game. Pro athletes around the world, actors, actresses, and so on. Basically, hypnosis or self-hypnosis is a way that you can install new habits in your mind much more quickly than you can through the traditional method, which is repetition. So basically there are two ways that you can install a new habit, right? The first way is you can do something. Some people say it takes 30 days. Some people say 60 days. Some people even say 90 days of doing the same thing every day. And everybody's a little different, truth be told. And not all habits stick as well as other habits. So repetition and practice is what makes a habit truly work. And hypnosis helps you shortcut all that, because the second way of learning a new habit is through accelerated learning, through rapid learning. And fortunately, we all actually have rapid learning experiences on a regular basis. It usually just happens so fast, we don't think about it as learning. And so the best example that I can give you of this is when you're driving a car and you learn how to drive. Maybe you're 16 years old, you just got your license, and you're driving around with some friends. And these days, you're probably on the cell phone, you might be listening to your favorite song on the radio, you might be singing along to it, you might be having a conversation with the person sitting shotgun next to you in the car. And all of a sudden, the car in front of you slams on their brakes. You're driving along, you're singing along, you're having a conversation, the car in front of you slams on their brakes. The brake lights come on, your foot is hopping around on the floor of the car looking for that brake pedal, and finally you hit it, and either one of two things happens. Either you hit it just in time, the cars squeal to a halt, and boom, you're inches away from just smashing that car in front of you, or that didn't happen, and you were a little too slow, and in fact you do rear-end the car in front of you, and for most people that only has to happen once or twice. In a split second, you learn mentally and physically what to do in the rest of your life every single time a car in front of you even taps on those brakes, and you even see a flash in the brake lights. What does your foot do? Your foot smoothly and easily moves over just at the right pressure pushes down on that brake pedal, you slow down or you glide to a stop with little or no problems, unless you're terribly distracted by something else or simply not paying attention. That's accelerated learning. It bypassed the conscious mind. In this case, it did it by speed. There are several different ways that you can bypass the conscious mind, but speed and intensity is one of them. It was a very fast, very intense situation. You had to react. Boom. The reaction was then bypassed your conscious mind. You couldn't think about what you were doing logically. You didn't have time. And it was a new habit that was established. In this case, it was a good habit. Brake when the car in front of you brakes. Right? Not all habits are good habits. You pick up habits growing up. You pick up habits in your first 1, 2, 3 years of life. First 6 months of your life is you pick up the majority of your habits, even if you can't act them out yet. And you pick them up from your parents and from the people that you're spending time with. So parents, pay close attention to what you're doing around your kids. They're going to pick those habits up. So the question then becomes, what comes next? How do you use hypnosis in order to install the new habits that you really want to install in your life to have the type of transformation that you desire, right? Well, throughout the course of what we call the self-hypnosis sequence, we teach you all of those. But what I'd like to do right now is just explain the anatomy of a hypnosis session, what hypnosis really is, exactly how it works. And maybe by the end, we'll even try one, right? So there are basically 7 key core parts to a hypnosis session, right? So there's the induction, and the induction is the part where you just slowly begin to relax, where you begin to relax your mind, you begin to relax your body. And before we go any further, more into the induction, I want to tell you about a little saying that most hypnotists have. It's kind of like a secret thing. Most hypnotists don't even say publicly, because it almost, for hypnotists, a lot of them feel that it takes the power out of their hands and puts the power in the hands of the client. But the reality is that's exactly what you want if you're a truly good hypnotist. You see, a hypnotist doesn't control your mind. A hypnotist teaches you how to control your mind through hypnosis. And there are a couple of rules. And the statement is, all hypnosis is self-hypnosis. All hypnosis is self-hypnosis. Repeat that with me. All hypnosis is self-hypnosis. Seriously, it is. Because if the hypnotist ever asks you to do something that is against your will, against your moral, ethical fiber or belief, what you want, you're not going to do it. If the hypnotist says close your eyes and you don't want to listen to the hypnotist, you're not going to close your eyes. If the hypnotist says take a nice slow deep breath in, and you don't want to listen to that hypnotist, guess what? You're not going to take that nice slow deep breath in. So that's the basic idea, is you are in control. The hypnotist teaches you how to be in more control. Okay, so all hypnosis is self-hypnosis, and that begins with the induction. And so with the induction, usually the most common type of induction is called a progressive relaxation induction. That's usually the easiest type of induction to work with. And by the way, if you've ever attempted to be hypnotized and it's been unsuccessful, then self-hypnosis is definitely for you. Not all people want to follow the directions of all hypnotists. And honestly, about 80% of the hypnotists out there aren't very good. Like most professions, there's a small percentage of people who are truly great at what they do and a large group of people who just kind of really aren't that good and don't put that much practice into it. So if you've ever been told that you're not hypnotizable, or if you've had a bad experience with hypnosis, especially in a group hypnosis environment or even a stage hypnosis environment, do not worry. This is completely different. You're going to learn how to control your own mind. And all people, I mean all people, go in and out of hypnosis several times a day, each and every day. So, each and every day. So, you made a really good decision when you decided to learn about self-hypnosis. Self-hypnosis changed my life. I was in college. In high school, I got terrible grades. I got A's if I was really, really, really interested in something, which was usually art, or something I didn't get graded on, which was distance running. And everything else I basically got D's in, right? Occasionally out of a class where I had a cool teacher that I really, really had a lot of rapport with, that I really connected with, that I could just understand the types of things that they were trying to show me. And I could do it easily, I could do it naturally. But for the most part, I went to a rural public school, and it just wasn't my thing, right? But in college, I found once I discovered self-hypnosis that I could literally learn to hypnotize myself to be interested in whatever I wanted to be interested in. And that changed the entire game for me. I got tremendously good grades. I wasn't quite a straight A student, but I was basically an A's and B's student in college. And that's when I first started studying the mind, and specifically brain waves and altered states of awareness, how you could use different tools, different technology, and different mental exercises to actually gain further and further control over your own brain. And I used self-hypnosis first for two things. The first thing I used it for was to improve my distance running. I was a national level cross-country distance runner, and I used self-hypnosis in order to get in the zone, or what we call the flow state, with running, so I could train at peak levels time after time after time and race with absolute optimal performance. So my head and my body were perfectly synced, and it was kind of in that zone state where time just kind of melts away and you're completely focused and doing the things that you do absolutely best. So that's how I started using self-hypnosis, and I said, wow, why can't I use this to optimize and focus my brain? And so I started using self-hypnosis to focus in order to get better at really getting papers complete or reading a book, because reading used to be very difficult for me when I was younger. And lo and behold, self-hypnosis really helped supercharge my mental flow state when I was working on academic stuff as well. And so that was my first kind of foray into hypnosis and into self-hypnosis. I said, wow, there's got to be more here. And so after college, I decided to go out and become a certified hypnotherapist. I spent my last $2,000, went out, and I got certified. And halfway through the group certification program, my trainer at the time, she decided, whoa, you're really good at this. And she offered me a job. And I was really, really lucky that I had a trainer who had a job opening, and I was good at hypnosis. So I knew on the spot, I was put on this planet to do hypnosis and to help people with hypnosis. And what the new hypnotists are doing is we are going to hypnotize 1 billion people with a B, 1 billion people in the next 10 years. And so what we're doing is we are kind of collecting and gathering together hypnotists from all around the world to join in the cause of transforming the world for the better with hypnosis. And so hypnotists all around the world, if you're a hypnotist, please let us know in the comments below, because we want to get you involved and we want to give you clients and exposure and everything else. We'll talk about more of that later. But in the meantime, we're hypnotizing 1 billion people in the next 10 years. That's all. That currently is 1/7 of the world's population. That's a lot of hypnosis sessions, and you hopefully are going to be one of those. So very, very, very exciting. So the way hypnosis works, as I mentioned earlier, is it's basically through an accelerated learning process where you can bypass the conscious mind by either relaxing it or distracting it, and then give your brain suggestions to do things that you already want to do, but you don't have the habits established in order to do them easily with no willpower. And that doesn't mean you can choose to do the opposite and then it will just happen magically. You still need to choose to do what you want to do. It just becomes easier and easier and easier, like riding a bike. Once you know how to ride a bike, you can just hop on and ride down the street with no problem, right? But learning that took some time, some effort, some energy, some practice. Hypnosis shortcuts that. It can shortcut it with learning Japanese or learning how to have a photographic memory. It can shortcut it with improving your exercise motivation, your diligence, your dedication. It can shortcut it by dramatically reducing your stress levels and making you a more pleasant person to be around. Very, very, very powerful stuff. And so in hypnosis, I say there are 5 pillars of improvement. And the 5 pillars of improvement are physical, mental, spiritual, emotional, and financial. Physical, mental, spiritual, emotional, and financial. So physical, of course, is your body. That's getting your body into perfect shape. It's also increasing your reflexes. It's increasing your organs' ability to function properly. It is improving your body physiologically in every way until you have the perfect body that you are supposed to have. Okay, making the little tweaks that you need to do mentally in order for you to achieve your perfect body weight, your perfect body fitness, and ideally, your perfect health. Okay, physically. Mentally, makes you sharper mentally, makes you able to solve problems more effectively, improves your memory. We talked about photographic reading just a few moments ago, right? So anything you want to improve mentally, you can use hypnosis to fine-tune and supercharge those areas as well. It's even better if you take something you're already good at and then you really ramp it up. And so those are some of the positive applications of hypnosis, is supercharging the stuff you're already good at. So physically, mentally, spiritually, whatever your spiritual denomination is, whatever your focus is, whatever your practice is, whether you simply want to meditate more deeply and more thoroughly, whether you want to pray and have a deeper connection with God, whether you want to use certain spiritual practices in order to develop your psychic abilities. Hypnosis is an amazingly powerful tool to enhance, to amplify, and even in some cases awaken latent spiritual abilities and connections. Physically, mentally, spiritually, emotionally. What does emotionally mean? Well, emotionally is not only how you feel on a day-to-day basis, how you wake up feeling, how you feel on an ongoing basis throughout your day, how you feel about yourself, but it's also your ability to connect empathetically, to connect sympathetically, and really emotionally get on the same page as other people. Not only is this just a great connection tool, but for those of you that are salespeople out there, it's the most powerful sales mechanism ever to actually care about your clients and customers and be able to connect with them in a way that no one else in the world can. That's emotional development. So physically, spiritually, physically, mentally, spiritually, emotionally, and finally, financially. Well, what's the difference between a billionaire and a millionaire? Well, other than almost $1 billion, it's all up here. What's the difference between someone who makes $100,000 a year and who makes $1 million a year? Same thing. What's the difference between someone in a trailer park and someone who makes $100,000 a year? Your thoughts. That's it. Your thoughts. That's the only difference. What opportunities do you naturally and easily recognize? Do you keep yourself mentally motivated around financial matters? Are your goals big enough? Are you delegating? Are you starting your own business instead of working a crappy job, right? Do you have a sales mentality? Are you trying to invest in your future financially? If the answer is no or not enough, you fine-tune all of these things mentally so your habits around money and business can truly skyrocket. And that's one of the biggest, most recent breakthroughs in the use of self-hypnosis, is to apply it in order to become more wealthy. Something that most people hadn't heard of just a few years ago. So these are some of the areas that you can improve yourself with hypnosis. So as I said, let's get back to the basics, the nuts and bolts of what makes hypnosis work and all of the pieces. So we already mentioned the induction. Well, then there's the treasure chest technique. So the induction gets you relaxed. The treasure technique really helps to move your mental chatter, your mental thoughts, your mental distractions out of the way so that you can think clearly and actually allow your conscious mind to slip into that timeless flow state. Sorry about the slurp there. So, next, zip file. The zip file technique is a self-hypnosis technique that I invented, and the zip file technique is very, very, very powerful. It'll actually teach you how to upload hypnotic suggestions into your mind while you're in the hypnotic state. It's kind of like a mental upload device. Very, very powerful. It works like crazy in order to insert any post-hypnotic suggestions that you desire into your own mind. Super powerful. Then there are different types of deepeners. There's the staircase deepener, there's the express elevator deepener. There are several different types of deepeners that are out there. And the deepeners are just, they're just really wonderful things that will allow you to go into truly, truly relaxed, truly profound states of awareness. Then, of course, there are the suggestions. How do you use hypnotic suggestions in order to make change? And so we're going to be talking about suggestions. We're also going to be talking about metaphor as part of that in terms of thinking through how do you want to give yourself these suggestions. And finally, the callback. So what's the callback? The callback is when you return back to wide awake, alert consciousness. The other thing I'm going to talk a little bit about before the end of this is NLP, neuro-linguistic programming, you may have heard of, and how you can use neuro-linguistic programming in conjunction with self-hypnosis techniques to really get the most powerful and the most profound effect that you possibly can. But before we wrap up here, I want to go into a little bit more detail about the induction. You see, there are basically 4 primary what we call brain states in hypnosis. And depending on what you think or what you believe, you could even say there are 5. So there's beta, which is wide awake alert consciousness. It's probably the brain state, the mental state that you're in right now. Beta, wide awake alert consciousness. We spend most of our waking hours in this state, okay? Beta. The next level is alpha, and alpha is what I call the daydream state. It's the space out state. You go into alpha when you're bored in class. You go into alpha when you're driving a long distance and you forgot about the last half hour because you were lost in thought. You go into alpha when you're reading for a long time and you get completely wrapped up in your book. You go into alpha when you're watching a really captivating, engaging movie, right? All of these are examples of alpha. And so that's the first stage of hypnosis. You can easily be in alpha with your eyes wide open, but you also move through the alpha state as you're beginning to relax and go to sleep at night, or when you're waking up in the morning. So you're in the alpha state usually when you wake up in the middle of the night and you're wide awake and alert and you can just walk to the bathroom and use the bathroom. But you're in a deeper state if you wake up and you're groggy and can just barely move yourself out of bed and think straight, right? So alpha is closest to beta. The next level down is theta, and theta is the dream state. This is where most rapid eye movement occurs, or REM. It is in a much deeper state of hypnosis. Most people cannot be in theta and have their eyes open at the same time on purpose. Most people experience theta when they've lost conscious awareness, and that's why dreaming happens there. With self-hypnosis, you'll learn how to go into theta but maintain conscious awareness. And this is where the world becomes a very, very different place. It becomes very, very interesting. And delta, normally this is deep, deep, deep sleep. Okay, this is where you normally have no memory of it at all. Deeply, 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 deeply relaxed states of awareness. And normally this is what we refer to as a recuperative sleep. Well, you're also going to learn, as you learn self-hypnosis, how to go into delta. And delta is amazing because you come back from delta feeling incredible. And you can think about things and experience things that you simply cannot do when you're in a normal conscious state of awareness. So we'll get into that more later. And then for those of you that are really into spiritual development or psychic abilities, there's gamma. And they say that most psychic activity goes on in the gamma state, which strangely is actually a faster brainwave state than beta. So we're not going to touch on gamma too much during this training, but just know that it's out there and it is something that's available for you to explore. So there's the induction, and the induction is a very powerful thing. It's the part that allows you to go from beta to alpha. That's really the induction's job. You relax your mind, you relax your body, and as you go through and you do an induction, you just begin to go into that relaxed, calm, super comfortable state. So for you, if you're ready now to start thinking about self-hypnosis, here's what I'm looking for. There are just two things. I'd like you to make a comment down below this video. And first of all, I'd like to know your single biggest takeaway. Number one is your single biggest takeaway from this video about self-hypnosis and how hypnosis works. And number two is your single biggest question. And over the course of the next several days, I'm going to do my best to answer all of the questions that you guys ask. So hit me with your questions about self-hypnosis. Hit me with your biggest takeaways. And definitely, if you like this video and you want to share it with your friends, your family, go ahead and click on the Facebook like button, click on the Pinterest button, go ahead and click on the retweet button, click on the Google Plus button. Help spread the word about self-hypnosis, because we really want to put self-hypnosis in the hands of more people just like you, because it's great. It changed my life. We've hypnotized thousands upon thousands of people this year, and we want to make that millions and then ultimately a billion people. We need your help to spread the word. So go ahead, if you like this video and you want more, click the social sharing buttons and hit me with your comments below, and we'll see you in the next video tomorrow. Telman Knutson, talk to you soon. Bye-bye.